What do you look at when determining the price of Bitcoin? Let's talk. Welcome back to Key Talks, guys. My name is Keith, and in this channel, we talk about everything investment related, from stocks to cryptos and beyond. So let's talk. Today, we're talking about what things and metrics you need to look at when determining whether Bitcoin is going to go up overall or down overall. Are we in a bear market or bull market? How do you determine this? These are the things I'm going to be talking about. So the first thing that you need to know is macroeconomics. Now, it's a very complicated topic, but what I like to do is there's some free resources that I use to give me an edge on understanding where the overall market is going. So the first thing I like to do is I like to actually go and actually look at the FOMC website. That's where Jerome Powell, if there's a meeting and something happens, they'll actually list out the meeting minutes and you can read what actually happened instead of reading it on a third-party website like Yahoo Finance, which might not give you accurate information. Now, why is this important in the first place? Well, Bitcoin, after all, is supposed to be an inflation hedge similar to gold. Now, what does that mean? That means you're buying these crypto assets so that your investment can go up and beat the performance of the US dollar. Now, we're doing this because inflation is actually killing the overall dollar. And the longer you hold the US dollar, the lower amount of purchasing power you get over the long period of time. But when you're holding an asset like gold or stocks or commodities or Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, then over time you're expecting to get a higher return than you would by just holding the US dollar. Because of this, it's important to understand what macroeconomics is and what it really measures and looks at. Now, macroeconomics looks at things like national income, the overall money supply, economic growth, employment. Is there massive unemployment, or how is employment doing overall, and overall price levels for different markets. A free resource that I love using is called Trading Economics. It's a free website for everyone to use, and they're always listing the latest reports of that's coming out around the world for you to read and see how that's actually affecting the markets. If you actually look at the Trading Economics website and then you see all of the reports that are coming out, you can actually see a correlation between those reports and the overall performance of the S&P 500 index fund. And what you'll see is that people don't trade based on charts, and people don't really trade based on company fundamentals, but instead these large institutions, they trade on macroeconomic events. And sometimes you can have a massive event that actually impacts the market in a big way. For example, recently Jerome Powell just came out and said that they're going to begin tapering. And immediately after he said that, we started to see the stock market slowly falling and the crypto market slowly following. And not just this, it also goes through all the other markets. It really influences price levels. So it's really important to look at that first. Now, the second thing that I like to look at is actually a Bitcoin whale exchange chart. Now, you can look at this chart anywhere. It's on CryptoQuant as well. Now, what this measures is basically how much large volume of Bitcoin is being moved from a ledger onto a crypto exchange. Now, why is this important? Well, why would people be doing this in the first place, right? When they would be putting it on a website that could potentially get hacked. Well, simple. They would only be doing it if they had the intention of selling. So what does that mean? That means there's a high chance that there's going to be a lot more volatility. It doesn't necessarily mean that the price of Bitcoin is going to go down. It just means that you can expect more volatility than usual when there's a high number of transactions that's taking place, moving actual Bitcoin from off exchange to on exchange. The third thing I like looking at is just a basic Bitcoin stock to flow model. Now, why is this important, right? Well, this is one of the fundamentals of understanding Bitcoin. The Bitcoin stock to flow model basically just measures based on how many Bitcoin that have been mined. So what should the price of Bitcoin currently be in this bull market? So basically, depending on when the last Bitcoin halving happened, a Bitcoin halving is when it becomes twice as hard to mine a Bitcoin, and based on how much circulating supply there is and how much demand there is for that supply, it gives you an average price range of where Bitcoin should be headed for every single bull run. Now, based on this chart, we can tell that Bitcoin's price was supposed to be $10,000 in 2017 and about $1,000 in 2013, and it hit both times. And for the current market, it says that Bitcoin's price should be at least $100,000 per one Bitcoin. Now, the fourth thing I like looking at is something called the Bitcoin rainbow chart. It's a very simple chart. It basically just graphs out in a log format where we are in terms of the greed scale. And it's here's a picture. Basically, if we're in the red, it's obviously there's too much greed in the system. And if we're much further down, then it looks like a pretty good buying opportunity. And the last thing I like to know is just a basic understanding of the Bitcoin money flow chart. It's basically an old chart that explains that fiat currency goes from fiat to Bitcoin, to large cap currency, to mid cap currency, to low cap currency, and then back into Bitcoin because it's the safe haven. Now, a lot of people argue against this and say, well, it's not like 2013 when there used to be pairs. Every alternative coin used to be paired with Bitcoin, but now you can buy it individually or pair it with other coins and etc. Yes, that is true, but overall, the general mentality is that Bitcoin is the reserve currency of the crypto space, and this doesn't change. So regardless of the pairs, at the end of the day, people flood to Bitcoin as a safe haven. So these are the general metrics that I use to give me a conviction as a long-term Bitcoin investor to know when a bull run has commenced and when a bear market has commenced. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you found value in this content, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.